It's the phrase that as teachers, it's not about what you make, it's that you make a difference. Hello, good afternoon. I'm Wyatt Jones, a senior at Ashland University, and a member of Phi Kappa Psi fraternity.
My name is Lauren Bartlett. I'm also a senior. I'm in Delta Zeta sorority, and I'm also an education major, early childhood. So,
I should add, I'm a high school education major.
yeah. So what made you want to go into high school education?
When I got here, I was undecided. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do, but I thought I like history. I tried exercise science, and I'm not very good at any of that. So I thought I like history. I like the history program we have here, and I like helping people. And education sort of struck me as an opportunity to learn about history that I love while helping others. So what about you?
Yeah, so I kind of have a little similar story at the beginning. I came into college wanting to major in like business, and I wanted to be a real estate agent. And then just somewhere throughout that summer before, I decided to just change my mind and go into education. And throughout my time here so far, I've had the greatest experience with education. So I'm early childhood, so I can do preschool through fifth grade, and it's the dual major with intervention specialist. And so I just get to work with all sorts of kids, all different age ranges, which is a lot of fun. And I love getting to just be that role model in person for the students in the classroom, because sometimes they may not have that at home, or they just may be feeling a need for that sense. So I love just getting to be that person for them at the school.
Sure. Yeah, that's awesome. So what made you pick the age range that you have?
So my parents are both teachers, high school and middle school, and then I have some family members who are elementary school teachers. And after talking with all of them, I'm just like, early childhood, I think that's a good place to go. Like, I love working with kids. I think it'd be great to be with the young ones and try to help them develop.
Yeah. Yes. So what made you join Greek life or fraternity and sorority?
Yes. So I came into college and I just wanted to find a group of friends, honestly. Like, I have like my friends my freshman year who were like my neighbors, my roommate, everyone who lived on my floor. But I really wanted to find more of like my group of people, like my girls. So I decided to go through formal recruitment. And ever since then, I've just loved being a part of sorority, even getting to meet people in other sororities and fraternities as well. And I know you're in Phi Psi, so what made you want to join a fraternity?
Yeah, so when I was a freshman, I actually had absolutely no interest in fraternity and sorority life. I didn't even know that it was something we offered here, but I met a couple folks like Gabe Del Valle that sort of introduced me to it and what it actually means to be in a fraternity. Because I think when you come to college, you maybe have preconceived notions about, fraternities and sororities. But when you come to a place like Ashland, you see that a lot of those preconceived notions couldn't be more wrong. And I actually love being in Phi Psi because it's another opportunity to help others just for the sake of doing it. You're Phi Psi, you get community service hours, you help others. It's a good feeling, and it's definitely made my college career all the better.
No, I love that. And I love the community service aspect of Delta Zeta as well, just all the events that we do. I was actually just out today for MLK Day with AU Gives as well. I went and volunteered at the Croc Center and helped them take down their Christmas decorations. So being involved in a fraternity or sorority is a great way to get community service too and just get involved with the community. So what ways have Phi Kappa Psi helped to like change you or like grow you?
Definitely in leadership opportunities. I know as a freshman, I was especially quiet and didn't really talk to a lot of people. And that still might be true, but it's given me an opportunity to help my chapter in ways that I didn't even know I was good at. I managed our social media for a year. I just got done being president last year. And these are things that I think, had I not joined a fraternity, I never would have sort of honed my leadership skills or learned how to better work with people. I think anybody that's in a fraternity would tell you that there's a lot of different types of people in those, and a good skill to learn, I think, in both fraternities and sororities is how to work with people towards a common goal. So.
Yeah, and I just got done being president of my sorority as well, and I can definitely touch on all the leadership qualities that it gives you as well. I've gotten so many opportunities just to travel with the sorority with Delta Zeta nationally and get to meet all sorts of different people, and they've helped me like get a different aspect on things that I never thought about before, just meeting all these different people. And it's just really cool how that translates also just back to my home life, and especially like education and what I do here at Ashland. Like, I've got the chance to be able to like lead and work with groups of people, and that can translate to education because I feel confident to run a classroom and then just be with all the kids.
Yeah, it definitely, if you can wrangle the attention of a bunch of 20-year-old guys in a fraternity, you can wrangle the
Yes.
attention of high school sophomores, you know?
Yes.
Um, but yeah, it's always interesting to see what opportunities these sorts of things can
Hmm.
bring. I think what always stuck out to me as a Phi Psi too was that I could meet somebody who graduated from Ashland in 1975, and if I learned that he was a Phi Psi, we suddenly have all these things in common despite being generations apart. You know, I could just know his name and that he was in Phi Psi, and suddenly we have that bond and we can talk
Hmm.
about things, even though there's such an age range, you know?
And that bond is so special. Like we just had our 60th reunion this year where we had over 120 alumni come to Ashland University, and we had a whole Delta Zeta reunion weekend full of events and lots of pink and green and good food, everything like that. And just seeing all the people come back from all the different years they were in school and just be together and hang out just like it was as they were in college was really just awesome to see. And it's just like something that I can't wait for when I get older to come back to the reunions and see the friends that I was in college with too.
Yeah. It's it really means something, I think, to go to your brother's weddings and things like that. You know, you might make friends on your floor or something or in a club you're in, but I think that the bonds that you make during this are truly for life,
Hmm.
which is great, you know.
So I mean, I know there's a lot of things to do on campus. So what are some of the ways that you got involved?
So since I was a freshman, I've been working at the Ashland University Recreation and Wellness Center, which is the on-campus gym and all of those sort of things for students, which is included in your tuition. It's a lovely building. It was built in 2003, and it's still standing, and it still looks great.
Hmm.
I think sort of a shameless plug, but we do really good about keeping our building cleaned and maintained. And because of that, when folks come by on tours or whatever, oh, your building's so
Hmm.
nice, and you have all these different things. So,
I love showing off the rec center. I'm a tour
yeah.
guide on
Oh,
campus. I
okay.
have been since my
Yeah.
freshman year. And whenever we go into the rec center, I'm like, and now for my favorite building on campus, the rec center. And there's
Yeah.
just so many things to talk about. It's just
Yeah.
a great place.
I think Ashland, for being a Division II school that's on the smaller side, has awesome facilities like that. Not just the rec, but all of our colleges, you know, ed, business, nursing, they're all well put together. And you can tell that the university invests a lot of money in these buildings because they know it's what students want when they come to school.
Hmm.
Um, so if you happen to be on campus, stop by the rec center. It's a good place. What else? What else are you involved in on campus?
So my freshman year, I also started getting really into community service, and then I ended up joining AU Gives, which is Ashland University gets involved with voluntary service. And so there's like a general membership, but there's also some exec members, which I'm a part of. I'm on the youth team. So just around the community, I find partners and I talk to people to think of events that AU students could come to just serve the community. One of my favorite events that I've been doing for the past year and a half now is Pen Pals. So I partnered up with the Catholic Charities here in Ashland, and they hook us up with the school, and then we just write letters back and forth. I think we're with the fourth grade class right now, so we just write letters back and forth once a month, and it's just a way to connect with students and just kids in the Ashland community. Like I know a lot of kids in schools, like especially going to be a teacher, I'd love for my classroom to do pen pals. So getting to do that now gives me the experience and like the idea to do that later in my future classroom. Through AUGIS, I've also started an annual toy drive. So I just set up a box usually in like the student center, rec center, maybe one of the dorms, and I just put a little poster above it. And then all of the toys that we get, we donate to associated charities here in Ashland. And we always get a group together to drop them off, and then we organize and then get them in time for Christmas.
Yeah, that's great. I think that that's something that always stuck out to me as somebody who's been here now for almost 4 years is that there's always a lot of ways to get involved, and almost all
Hmm.
of them are meaningful things that can
Hmm.
increase your career, you know, your career readiness, or just who you are as a person. Um, which actually makes me think of something I like to ask folks that are passionate about their majors. But what's one thing you've learned as being an education major that you've taken away and has helped you grow?
I think it's important to find your people in like whatever aspect, like major of life you're in, is just find the people that will support you and be positive and always be encouraging to you, especially in like education and everywhere. There's always these ups and downs, rewards and challenges. But if you just find your people that you stick to, like all of my cooperating teachers that I have had such a positive outlook on teaching, and I can tell truly and genuinely like love their jobs and want to give these kids that like the love and education that they deserve. And it's really been inspiring inspiring, and their mindsets and outlook has transferred over to me as like, I want to take their goals and what they do for these kids for myself one day.
Sure. Yeah.
And now I'm going to ask the same question to you. What would your answer be?
Mine's a little bit simpler, I guess, but it's the phrase that as teachers, it's not about what you make, it's that you make a difference. I know that, talking about it in high school or even, freshman, sophomore year with people, oh, well, I think I'd like to go into education. One of the first things that people bring up is how much money you make. And, well, you're not going to be able to live on a teacher salary. And I know my mother's almost been teaching for 35 years now, and she's made enough to live well, and she's also made experiences that I think have lasted her a lifetime, just with students and the impact you make on them.
And just seeing that impact, because my mom is a teacher as well. Like I said earlier, we were like out shopping the other day, and she ran into somebody in the aisle, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, hi." And she was like, "Oh my gosh, like I haven't seen you in 20 years, but he remembered her name and just was so excited just to see her in the classroom. So even seeing those connections like happen years and years after the students graduate, like is so cool to know that you had that impact. And like in like some of classes that I had to take my freshman year, they had us like write letters to a teacher that impacted our lives. And I just think it's super like cool that one day like someone could write those letters to like us as a teacher.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's somebody in your life that's been like a role model or someone that you can look up to and shape the way you look at like education and what you want to do with your future?
Definitely, I think about my grandparents a lot. They grew up in the Great Depression, and did not have a lot. And they grew up, and I think especially my grandfather, who just worked in a factory for 40 years and then retired, and how they always put an emphasis on hard work. And if you just work hard, it'll work out. And I think that that's something that anybody, college student or otherwise, could take and sort of live by and do all right with. If you just work hard, I think that you'll get very far, and no matter what you want to do. As soon as you figure out what you want to do and you work at it, I think you'll be all right.
Yeah.
You?
I would say someone here at Ashland that has definitely like changed my view on education would be Professor Terry Jewett. She was one of like my first professors that I ever had my freshman year I got here. She does a lot of like the early childhood, and just the joy and smile on her face every time I walked into her class was so radiant, and it really just like passed off to me and my classmates as well. And I've had her for a class like every semester so far, basically just about. And she just truly like loves education and loves working with kids. She was a teacher for a while before she became a professor here at Ashland University. And the way she talks about how she was when she was a teacher and how passionate she is about like teaching us and giving us the education so we can go into schools and teach the students too. It's really just inspiring. Like she loves her job and cares so much about what she does, and it really passes on to the people that she teaches. And I just love that about her.
Yeah, I've definitely noticed that taking courses here is that I think all of the education faculty taught at some point in public school or whatever else. And it definitely makes a difference to be taught by people that have done this and have been doing it for a while and have since moved on to teach collegiate level students. So you get the best of both worlds.
Definitely.
So at the end of your life, if you had to look back on it and say, what's one thing I did really well, or what was sort of my mission for the past 70, 80 years, what would that be and why?
I would say I would want people to remember my joy and positivity, just some happiness that I brought. Like, I hope I can bring happiness to everyone that I cross paths with, either in big ways or little ways. But I also want people to be able to see like my joy and my heart for the Lord. My faith is something super like important to me, and I know I can't like out in public show it to kids if I'm in like a public school, but there's still ways that I can like show and like pray for them, like when I get back home, or just like think of them. So I may not be able to publicly do it like in the school setting, but there's still different ways that I can do it. But I want to live my life for the Lord, and just I hope that throughout my life that it shows and it radiates, and everything I do is to fulfill His purpose and His glory.
Yeah, yeah.
What about for you?
I think in a similar vein, I want to be somebody that is always there for others. I think of my time on campus, whether it's at work or with my brothers. I would say that I'm somebody that's there for them no matter what they need. I've spent an afternoon ripping an alternator out of a brother's car and putting a new one in, which was a lot of fun. But just stuff like that. I want to be somebody that you can find, and if you need something, you know who to ask. And if I don't know what to do, I'll ask somebody who hopefully knows. But I think over my life, that's something I would really aim for in my career too, is when people need something, they know who to come to, especially students. I know high school students especially are always, you know, we were in that same boat where you're stressed. You don't, you know, you're 18 years old and you have to answer the question, what do I want to do with my life? And I think that there are high school teachers out there that can make a real difference and help you find that path, or at least be somebody to hear you out if you have questions about, you know, what do I do for the next 60 years? So yeah, I would like to look back and see that.
Yeah, good. So as a graduating senior, where do you see yourself ending up at after you graduate?
Ideally teaching somewhere, but I think that's something we could both say. Yeah, I'd like to be in the classroom, learning and working, you know. So getting my first steps in. I have my substitute teaching license and things like that. So yeah, hopefully working.
Yes. I have my subbing license as well. So after I graduate, I plan on going back to my hometown and subbing until they're out of school. And then fingers crossed, hopefully also teaching, getting a job in just a really good school district with lots of elementary schools. I'm hoping to teach maybe like first, second, or third grade. But I would be blessed to be in any grade. But
yeah.